Hello everyone, and welcome to my second sketchbook tour. So this is super exciting because this is the second sketchbook I have ever finished. And after getting my ELO sketchbook completed, I really wanted to try to finish up a few of my sketchbooks that had been sitting around for some time. I have this really bad habit of collecting sketchbooks and kind of starting them and then maybe getting a few pages in and then kind of just moving on to the next one. And so this was actually first done in 2015. So the first half is done in 2015. So we're just gonna do the second half, which was more recently done, since that art is so much more better, less cringeworthy. So it's gonna be more of like a half sketchbook tour with maybe some doodles that I'll show you guys from the first half. But yeah, so we're just gonna get started. So this is the Moleskine Sketchbook. Again, I had bought this in 2015, back when Moleskine was kind of like the really popular sketchbook brand, and decided to just put a little sticker on it. But this is the A5 size, I believe. It's slightly smaller than A5, so I think height-wise, it's the same as A5, but it's definitely more slim compared to your standard A5. I don't know the GSM of the sketchbook, but it is meant for dry media. I want to say it's maybe like 120 GSM paper, and it's ivory colored, or like cream colored and not that bright white. So working with the sketchbook was a very different experience because I was so used to using just bright white paper, and I found that while ivory paper is like nicer on the eyes with less eye strain, it definitely warps colors a lot more, and so I feel like that kind of took away part of my enjoyment of using this sketchbook, was just how dull some of the colors looked when I used them in the sketchbook. But anyways, we'll get started. So first, inner cover I wanted to show off because I'm still super proud of this piece. So this is a Shuramaru from the series Owari no Seraph, or Seraph of the End. It was a really big series I was into at the time. And fun fact, so this was actually done completely in 0.05 size fine liner, including the coloring, which was very painful and tedious to do, but at the time, like, using a smaller nib meant a lot more consistency, less streakiness in terms of like the black that you would use to color. But this was actually the piece that ended up ruining my wrist, and I ended up needing surgery to fix it. So for those of you who have watched a few of my videos, you might have noticed that I do have a surgical scar on my wrist, and it's from this piece, just because from using that 0.05 nib and really, coloring this entire thing with that is not good for the wrist. So I don't recommend it. But yeah, fun fact, good memories with this. And again, we're just gonna skip to half of the sketchbook that I completed more recently, just because the first half is just really old art that I'm not very proud of. I might show a few things at the end if we've got some time, but we're just gonna start from the middle. So I decided to do an opening spread of Anna from Shaman King. I think at the time I had recently finished rewatching the original Shaman King anime series in preparation for the reboot, which is going on right now. So as you can see, this was started in October, and I ended it earlier this month in May, like May 15th. Though I guess by the time I post this video, it'll be June. But yeah, I finished this recently, a few weeks ago, and I think it's really neat because when I started it, I had just finished watching the Shaman King original series, and at the time of finishing it, the reboot was actually airing, and it's currently a few episodes in, so I thought that was really neat. Also, I apologize for this like fluorescent look. I don't know why my camera does this, but ever since getting this new camera phone, it just doesn't really like bright colors that well, but this is the Gansai Tambi. It's actually like a dull rose color and not like this bright pink. So I don't know why it's picking up that way, but it is what it is. And one of the things I tried to do in my sketchbook was add a little bit more color, which I feel like I'm still really bad at doing. So all of my sketches during the second half were done with the Kohl Erase colored pencils, which I feel like inherently gave that extra color to my sketches, which is really nice. So a lot of these drawings are of my OCs. So this is KO on the top half, and then we've got Aru on the bottom half. And then I just threw on some color in the background just to make it look a little bit less plain. A lot more sketches. Again, I just really like using the Kohl Erase colored pencils because it just naturally adds more color, makes my sketches look a little bit more fun. But again, more doodles of my OCs. I tried using some references, I think, but I don't know. I think I just need to practice a lot more with using references because I just get so frustrated that even though I'm looking at the reference, my drawings don't look like the references. So I end up just free drawing a lot. More doodles. I think at this point I had bought a few open stock like markers from Michaels, and so I was kind of trying it out. So I'd gotten the Stabilo. Let me see if I could pull it out, show you guys. So I'd gotten the Stabilo like highlighter, and then I had also gotten this Stabilo like fine liner, which has been really fun to use. So I was just testing that out. And again, I promise these colors are not as fluorescent as they show up on the page. I think it's really just my phone, because really like this orange color is very dull and it's more like a brownish orange, but for some reason it's picking up as like highlighter orange. Again, more doodles, and so at this point I think I had just gotten the Ohuhu fine liners, so I was kind of testing them out, but as you could see they aren't really that dark, and I don't know if it's the ivory paper or if it's just the Ohuhu markers not being as like pigmented in terms of like the black color, but I think moving forward I just started using those fine liners in this sketchbook. A lot more doodles. I'd also bought a stamp from Michaels, so I was just randomly testing it out here. And then more like Shaman King stuff. Wanted to turn it into an actual piece, but after sketching it out, I think I lost interest and just moved on. More sketches. As you can see, a lot of the sketches in the sketchbook are very incomplete, and I was just kind of playing around with just using the sketchbook, using the coal erase fine liners, or not fine liners, colored pencils. So this piece was probably one of the few like more finished pieces in the sketchbook. So this is Aqua from the Kingdom Hearts series. I think at the time I had been rewatching the Neon Cave go through. It was either the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep or the 0.2 Fragmentary Passage with Aqua, and she has one of my favorite like outfits in the whole like Kingdom Hearts series. I think her outfit is just so aesthetic, so I just wanted to draw that. Yeah, so there was that. At this point I was kind of playing around with the Fine Tech metallic watercolors, and as you could see it's kind of like a bluish purple, which I think is really cool. So this is one of their flip colors, which basically means that depending on the angle that you hold it, the color changes. So as you can see, at some angles it looks really blue, other angles it looks really purple, so I thought it would just be really cool to kind of test it out. Again, this paper is not meant for wet media, so it does bleed through or just kind of get absorbed right into the paper, so I don't recommend this for any kind of mixed media, wet media type of art, but I just kind of wanted to play with it for this page. And at this point I think I was rewatching the Neon Cave's Final Fantasy VII remake, and I'm just blown away by the ending. I still get chills like with the scene where, you know, at the end Aerith is kind of walking away with the current party, and she crossed paths with Zack and Cloud from, you know, the past with Zack, and I just thought it was so chilling just to have that happen. Try not to give too many spoilers for those of you who either haven't played the remake or are planning to, but also have context from the previous games. Like I just really like the take that they did for the remake, so I kind of just wanted to draw that out, that little scene. I guess I could kind of zoom in. I forget, I think this is the Kuretake Ganzai Tambi Gold that I used to accent it, but it came out really nice. So while this paper does not take watercolors that well, it does take kind of like the metallic colors that are more like chunky and less water-based, I guess. And this was a comic that I had done very briefly with Denzel and Rain, two of my original characters. I know I keep saying that I'm going to eventually do comics of my OCs, especially because I have so many headcanons, so many plots and stories that I just want to share with you guys, but I just haven't found the time. But this was just something that I really quickly did. It's also on my Instagram, a better close-up of these panels. But yeah, so there was that. And I think this was around the holidays, again, just playing around with the Fine Tech metallic watercolors. which look really nice on this paper. So again, just Rain and Denzel. And yeah, I think the only thing about, I don't know if it's the paper or if it's the watercolors, but once you move on to the next page, there's kind of like transferring of the paint to over here, so that's why it kind of looks messy on this side. And this side, I think I was rewatching a Let's Play of the original Nier. I think it's Replicant, but it's basically the North American version of the original Nier for the PS3. And I wanted to draw Kaine because I love her so much. I think she's an amazing character, and I'm so happy that the remake for Nier Replicant is now out, just because I feel like the story of the original Nier was so much more satisfying, and I really liked it a lot more than the Automata story. And I'm just glad that people now get to experience that with the remake, especially because the older game was very clunky, and it would be hard to tell people like, oh, like Automata, yes, it was beautiful, but I recommend playing Nier. Whereas like the original Nier game, again, it's very clunky, the graphics aren't as great. So I'm really grateful that they decided to do a remake and poured a lot of love into the new version of it. So that people can experience the beautiful storyline. And then more doodles of Rain and Denzel. And doodles of Sora, another of my original characters. At this time, my friend had sent me a pen pal package, and she included really cute like washi tape that's like Animal Crossing themed, and I really didn't want to throw it out, so I decided to just stick it on in the sketchbook. And I did more playing around with the Ohu fine liners, which I actually am enjoying using them a lot. And I think, I don't know, like I just really like the way that the line weight came out and all of that. So there's that. More doodles of Sora. I actually really like this spread. I know it's kind of empty with like all of this space right here, but I just had a lot of fun using like the fine liners. I think his hair is also really fun to draw, and when I add the line weight, it just, I don't know, like it just makes it pop in a way that's just very like aesthetically pleasing for me. So I really like these two pieces. And these were the two companion pieces that I did of Hero and 02 from Darling in the Franxx. I do have videos showing my art process for both of these on my channel if you guys wanted to check it out. But I just think it's so nice seeing the two kind of like side by side in a spread. And then a doodle of Aru and Ko. So I actually left this page blank because at the time when I had sketched out 02, I didn't get around to doing the line art and the colors until much later, and at that point I kind of moved on to doing more drawings, and so I wasn't sure if there was going to be a lot of bleed through onto the next page, and so I left this blank and then moved on to do more art. And at this point I had gotten a glass dip pen, which I kind of bought on a whim, and I thought it would just be really cool to try out. But again, with this paper not being wet media friendly, it definitely bled through to the other side, which you could kind of see scattered on the page. So I didn't get to use it as much afterwards, just because of all of the bleed through. But this is of Aru. And then I wanted to try drawing out some of my OC's eyes, because something that I really am trying to go for is like character variation. Like I don't want to have same face syndrome. I want all my characters to kind of look their own like character without being like, oh yeah, their character looks very similar to another of my designs. So I was just playing around with the eyes. So this is Aru, Ko, I think this is Denzel and Rain, and this might be Sora. I'm not sure, but I was just kind of playing around with drawing the eyes to see if they truly look different, if I'm able to make them look different from each other. So there was that. Another spread of Aru and Ko. I feel like I go through random binges of just drawing my OCs a lot. So like, I feel like this book, I had a lot of Aru and Ko. With my new sketchbook, which I might show at the end, I have a lot of Sora doodles right now. So I kind of just cycle through my random binges of, okay, which OC am I just gonna like draw a ton of today? So there was that. More Aru, and then some Denzel, which I actually really like the way that Denzel's piece turned out. again, I just feel like it's so satisfying with the line weight for the hair and all of that. So yeah, so I really liked how this one turned out. Another 2-page spread of Aru and KO. Again, just playing around with using the Uhuhu fine liners, which I think is safe to say that I do enjoy using these fine liners. I don't know if they're my favorite, but I've had a very enjoyable time using them. Haven't really run into a lot of issues so far with them. So I've been overall very happy. And I bought another bottle of ink. So this is the Ecoline liquid watercolor for the glass dip pen. But again, this paper doesn't handle wet media well, so it bled all over. But I just wanted to check the color and all of that. And then a random doodle of Joodle from Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic. I don't know why I decided to draw him, because it's been many, many years since I was into that series. But I think randomly I was just like, oh yeah, his hair is super fun to do. I'm just gonna do it. And this is when I started revamping one of my old characters. I was pulling designs from multiple old characters to try to come up with like a revamped character design, similar to what I did for Rain and Denzel. But yeah, so that's her. Decided to draw more of her. As you can see, I kind of took a few spreads just drawing out and fleshing out her character design. And this is a color test. Since I really suck at color palettes, so I think this is going to be her final color palette. We'll see, but overall, like, this is kind of the colors that I wanted to incorporate for her. But basically, she is Denzel's former summoner prior to Rain. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to incorporate her into the story. So there's that. And at this point, I tried drawing a lot of Genshin Impact art because I've been playing that game way too much. But it's just so much fun and it's super accessible. I play it on my phone. So I just wanted to draw some of the characters. So Razor is my main DPS. He is a very good boy. The only thing about Genshin Impact is that the character designs are so elaborate and they are so complex. So drawing can be very frustrating because I'm very detail oriented. And as you could see, like, my lines were so messy because I was trying to figure out like his outfit and all the details. I originally wanted to ink this, but then with all the messy lines and everything, I was just like, oh, forget it. We're just gonna move on. And on this side, I attempted drawing Kaya, but I also got frustrated, so I kind of just stopped drawing it. But I did complete it in my new sketchbook, which I could show you guys. So this is kind of like the completed version. So you can see, kind of similar idea, but I still was like, no, I'm gonna draw Kaya and I'm gonna make it happen. And I was able to get it to work for this new sketchbook. So there was that. And then last page, really just a bunch of random drawings. At this point, I was about to leave for vacation, so I really wanted to finish this sketchbook so I could just move on to a new one instead of like bringing 2 sketchbooks with me. But yeah, so Sora Doodles, and then Bennett, who's another good boy, who's also on my Genshin current team. And I had also bought a few Tombow dual brush pens, so I was testing that out here. Chrissy, also known as Tiramail Sue here on YouTube, also gifted me some Ecoline watercolor brush pens, so I was kind of testing it out here. It was a very belated birthday gift, but I'm still super grateful for her just getting it for me. So yeah, just watching that out. So that kind of brings us to the end of the sketchbook tour. Again, it's just the last half because I feel like the first half was really old art that I don't know. It's all very old doodles, very old like Inktober doodles. I guess I could show this one, which I'm very proud of. So after I got my wrist surgery, I remember having this urge to draw after coming home from the hospital, and of course with my hand being all like bandaged up and everything in like a soft cast, I couldn't use it to draw, and so I decided to draw with my left hand, my non-dominant hand, and I'm still very proud of the way it turned out. For it being my non-dominant hand, like, yeah, the lines are shaky and everything, but overall, like, it still looks pretty decent even after all these years when this was done in like 2015. But yeah, so it was just a random doodle of Len from Shaman King. So yeah. So that concludes our sketchbook tour. Thanks guys for tuning in. Hopefully that wasn't too long and too rambly. I feel like I end up talking a lot when I do these on the fly, and I'm not doing like a voiceover where I end up going back and like editing and all of that. But hopefully it wasn't too bad. But thanks for stopping by. Moving forward, I don't know when my next video is going to be. If you saw my previous video where I talk about my inconsistent posting schedule, that's definitely going to be the case, at least for the next few months. So for the next month, I will be in the ICU, in the newborn ICU. So after that, it'll be a lot of like inpatient stuff. So I really don't know when I'm going to next have some time to put together a video. Maybe I'll do some like live, like not live stream, but like real-time sketch videos, because those are easier for me to put together. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!